Hey YouTube! So I think pizza is one of those staple things in anyone's diet. It's why you've got so many pizza chains everywhere. So today I'm just going to be making a pizza dough recipe. It's really easy, it's also vegan. And it's only got 5 ingredients, which makes it super helpful. So you're going to want to have 475 grams of plain flour. You're going to want yeast, sugar, salt, and you're also going to want 150 mils of water and just a bit of extra flour for while we're making the dough. So you'll want the flour to be lukewarm, you'll want it to be touchable, otherwise you'll kill the yeast. We're going to put a tablespoon of yeast in with the water and half a tablespoon of sugar. Now the half a tablespoon of sugar allows and helps the yeast to activate, which is why we're adding it, and we're just going to stir it around, trying to get the clumps out a bit. The yeast will naturally clump as soon as you put it in the water. So just try to get those out to the best of your ability, and we'll leave it set for a couple of minutes while it's activating. So we're going to add all of the flour into an extra bowl. I'm using a big one because this will take up a lot of space. Now we're going to add a bit of salt. The salt, I'm not sure how to explain it, but if you've ever had bread without salt, it's terrible. So you're just going to want about half a teaspoon of salt and mix it around with the flour gently. And while you're doing that, just create a well in the center of the flour, which we're going to be putting the yeast water mixture in once that's ready. So having left this for a little bit, we're going to add it in with the rest of the flour. And I'm just going to use my hand for this. I find it a lot easier than using any kind of wooden spoon some people I've seen use, or beaters or a whisk. I just find this a lot easier by hand. I feel that it sort of gives you more control over when you notice that it's done, so you'll know when you've got it to the point where you can take it out of the bowl when it's properly combined. One problem is these types of doughs are always very sticky, so you're going to want something to be able to take it off with. They're really good for that. You can just scrape it off and it usually comes off very easily. And then you can just proceed on with your bringing the dough together, which hopefully won't take too long. So once you manage to get your dough very combined, so that it's one bit, it's still a bit crumbly, but you can grab your flour and just lightly flour the surface that you're working with. This way the pizza dough won't stick to the surface, and it makes kneading it a lot easier as well. So just put it down on the surface and keep kneading it for a couple of minutes. So once you've done that, you can just grab spray oil and lightly spray the inside of your bowl. I'm using the same one as I used before, just to reduce the washing up I have to do. And you're just going to put your dough into that, and using a towel, put it on top and leave it somewhere for about an hour in order to allow the dough time to rise. So I'm just going to use my oven because it's one of the few places where it's out of the way. And yeah, so I've brought my dough out after about an hour of being put away in order to enable it to rise. And this is enough for 2 pizza dough, so I'm just going to halve it before I do anything else. And also move that. I'm going to spread some more flour on our surface. Grab one of the dough halves and start kneading it out a bit more. Just prepping it for when we roll it. So I've just rolled it up into a ball again after kneading it, and we're just going to roll it out now. Try to get it nice and thin, so we're going to put an even amount of pressure as we move it backwards and forwards, so that it's not like the inside is a bit thicker than the outside, so we want it to be even throughout. We want to get it nice and thin. So like I said, it won't look like a lot of dough, but once you roll it out, you'll realize that it is, especially because it still rises a bit in the oven. So in order to transfer it, an easy way to move it than try to pick it up is if you put your rolling pin to one side of it and just roll your dough up onto the pin. And let that help you as you pick it up and transfer it across. I'm using baking paper, so you don't have to use any extra oil. So once you've got that, you'll want to put your toppings on and then just cook it for about 10 to 15 minutes at 220 degrees Celsius. I'll put the temperature down in Fahrenheit in the description box. But I hope you found that easy enough to follow. I hope that you enjoyed the pizzas that you make. Like I said, you can put anything on top. So yeah, thank you.